Good morning. Hi, Caitlin. How are you today?
I'm hanging in there. How about you?
Same. It is almost Friday.
Woohoo! I can't wait.
Yes, me too. Awesome. Looks like we're having another person join in this morning. Um, so going ahead and getting started. All right. So good morning, everybody. I hope you're all having a great week. Happy Thursday. We are so close to the weekend. I can feel it. Um, for those of you who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Claire Rogers, and I'm the social media specialist for Texas and Colorado. Running these trainings to really help you guys um, gain control of your social media and build your business through social as well. So today is our crafting compelling content training. So what we're really going to be doing is talking about how to make the posts and the content that are going to keep the followers that you already have engaged while helping you gain new ones. So as I'm going through, if you guys do have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. I will be monitoring it the whole time, but I will also leave a spot at the end for Q&A if you want to come off mute and ask any questions at that point as well. I am recording this session and we'll be sending out that recording along with these slides after our training today. So you should have those to refer back to at a later date. So with that, let's go ahead and jump in. So I want to start today by talking about the importance of building your brand through the content that you're posting on social specifically, and really just how to stay as consistent as possible with those posts that you're making. So personal branding really is super important because it establishes yourself and your business to the people that interact with and follow your social pages. When you have a really strong brand identity, people know what type of content to be expecting from you. And usually, if you have a strong brand identity, people can see the posts that you make and know immediately that they were made by your account, which is really, really important. So even a little bit more so than that, having a strong brand identity and just a strong brand in general makes your profile and on any platform just more visually pleasing and attractive. Specific social media channels like Instagram are really, really visual. So seeing a profile that's filled with really beautifully crafted content and posts along with story highlights really could be the reason that someone decides to follow you when they see your account. So, one of the first steps to building out that personal brand of yours is to create a color palette. Remember to keep the colors that you choose as visually pleasing as possible. You definitely don't want to pick anything that's going to be jarring or hard to look at, like neon. Definitely stuff you want to steer clear of. I would personally suggest doing more muted colors as they're definitely more digestible for people when they're looking at your page as a whole and even just scrolling through your their feed and seeing your posts individually. So you'll want to use your color palette in any media that you personally create on your own, with any fonts and backgrounds coloring or following the scheme that you create, like a Facebook cover photo, Instagram stories, and story highlight icons. Anything from there to event promotional posts and anything else you can think of. So really just anything that you're creating that you want to be pushing to your channels and making on your own, I would say definitely follow that color scheme. It's going to help you build your brand really quickly. So you'll also want to stay as consistent as possible with your tone of voice and branding writing style when you're posting on any and all of your social channels. So those tones might vary just a little bit due to the type of channel that you're posting to, but stay as consistent as possible per channel, if that makes sense. So, for example, your tone and writing style will definitely be different when it comes to LinkedIn, just because it is a professional and formal site. But when it comes to the rest of your social channels, like your Instagrams and your Facebooks, you can definitely be yourself and write your captions in the way that you would normally speak, and that speaks to who you are as just a normal person, whereas LinkedIn talks to who you are professionally. So writing style also speaks to how you format the captions of your posts. So these are all stylistic choices, but it's important to stay consistent on them. Some people just indent to start a new paragraph, while others will put little dots or pipe separators in between them. So with things like that, just decide which you like the best, what you think looks really good, and stick to it. So that also has to do with any additions like hashtags or emojis that you put in your captions kind of on a regular basis. If you do choose to work hashtags into the sentences of your captions or solely post them as the first comment on your Instagram pages, just make sure that you're doing it for all of your posts and making it as consistent as you can. So brand also has a lot to do with the look of your social media, but it goes even further beyond that. I think some people see brand only as being a visual thing, but it's a lot more than that. So brand is also the way that you interact with your audience, and how they expect you to react or to act on your social channels. So the best way to really build a personal and successful brand is um, to make yourself feel approachable, right? So you need to work on building a two-sided relationship between yourself and your audience. Um, Consistency, excuse me. So what you need to do is consistently include calls to actions in your posts that feel personal and not pushy. We don't want to seem like we're just selling them, because that's not what people respond best to on social media. So when I say a call to action, I don't mean ending every post by saying, message me today to see how I can help you get into this home or into a new home. Nothing like that, because that's really not what people are going to respond to. No one's going to comment and say, awesome, I'd love to help or to work with you. And as we know, algorithms love when people write comments on your posts. So the best types of call to actions are going to ask your audience to weigh in on something or give their opinion. As we know, people love giving their opinion, right? So for example, say you've posted photos of a new listing that you have or someone that on your team has. Use a call to action like, what's your favorite feature of this house, the pool or the really big kitchen island? Like I was saying, people really do love giving their opinion, and prompting them to do it is the best way to drive engagement. So once you get people interacting on your posts and enjoying what you're posting, trusting you, all those good things, the algorithm is going to see that. So you're not only going to be getting followers to hopefully become clients with time, but you're also going to get rewarded by the algorithm and get yourself in front of a lot more people. So that in turn helps you get more potential clients as well. So you'll also want to be making sure that you're responding to every comment and message that you get, good or bad, to show that you really care about what people are saying. So it can be a simple thank you to a comment that just says congratulations, like if you post a new accolade that you get or something like that. But that's a simple, thank you. But you'll also want to be responding to those negative comments, just saying like, hey, DM me. I'd love to help you work through this. So any and every comment that you get, always respond. So interacting with other pages is also really important to building your brand. So make sure that you're following any relevant accounts on every single one of your social channels, and respond, like, and interact with other brands, local businesses, and your clients' posts. And finally, when it comes to building your brand, people are really looking for authenticity. I think it's important to remember this. There's really so much phoniness now, especially in the world of social media, as we all know, that a lot of people really have the ability to kind of see right through that. It's super vital to be transparent with your audience, and give them a glimpse into things that maybe you wouldn't think to post, right? So not all days are good, and giving a look into something that maybe didn't go your way makes you human and approachable to a lot more people instead of saying showing only the good side of things, right? So for example, say you couldn't sleep and you had to get up early the next morning for an appraisal or something like that, posting a story of your coffee with a caption that says, "This is the only thing keeping me awake right now or alive right now after that long night." It really is totally acceptable and shows that you're just a normal person that has rough days too. People respond really, really well to that. But also, one thing to note on that, remember when you are doing something that kind of calls out maybe something that didn't go your way or something, to not be negative, right? To not come out and say, "Oh, today's a crappy day," or something like that. Just say, "Coffee's keeping me awake right now after a crazy night." That keeps it simple without being negative. It's a fine line to balance, but it is important. So in this day and age, there really are so many tools across the internet to help you with branding and creating assets for your social posts. But the two that I have listed here and that I would really recommend for you guys to be using are BrandServe and Canva. As we all know, BrandServe is specifically for Coldwell Banker agents, and it allows you to really, really easily create the social media assets and marketing materials that you can make for yourself and be posting on social. All assets in that follow Coldwell Banker brand standards. So if your personal brand follows that of Coldwell Banker, this is especially great resource for you. You can download videos in BrandServe for holidays as well as everyday posts, in a variety of social media sizes, which is really important, making sure that you're posting the right size for the right type of post. The other website that I really wanted to talk to you about today is Canva. So it's a really, really awesome platform that helps you easily build out social assets. You can build them out with your brand colors, your fonts, and any of your own personal images. It is completely free. You just have to make an account and start building out those assets. Honestly, it's really, really easy to use, and they have a lot of templates that you can update with all of your brand preferences, whether that be colors or fonts. So for social specifically, they have any and every kind of template that you could want. So I put a list of them here so that you would know what they have. Which is, I mean, anything you could want. But there's Instagram posts, Facebook posts, Instagram stories, Facebook cover photos, TikTok videos, YouTube thumbnails, YouTube intros, Twitter posts, Facebook ads, which is helpful, LinkedIn banners, Facebook event covers, and Instagram story highlight icons. So that alone just shows you all the different areas that you can touch to really build your brand and make it stand out and cohesive across all of your social media channels. Like I was saying, Canva really is extremely easy to use. And I would definitely suggest just getting in there and playing around with the templates that they have, just so that you can start enhancing your social pages. Maybe you make it a weekly thing and say, every Wednesday, I want to make a new asset. This Wednesday, I want to build my brand Facebook cover. Just build it out over time, but keep it and just prioritize it is what I really want to try to say. So now that you know how to create the posts that follow your brand and your brand voice, let's talk about the content that you should be incorporating in those posts to engage your current audience and grow your following, which is ultimately what we want to be doing on social. So when you think about why people want to work with you or why you've been trusted to help your clients buy or sell their homes in the past. You probably think about the fact that people like working with you because they like you as a person. So that really just means you should absolutely feel free to be yourself on social and attract the people that like you for really who you are. The first step in making your social speak to you as a person is to figure out the types of things that you like and enjoy seeing on social media. So these preferences obviously change person to person. So for example, my favorite things to post about would be corgis, traveling, and my favorite restaurants. But you guys, maybe you like cars, home renovations, and sports, but whatever it is that you enjoy, feel free to post about it alongside your real estate posts. Something that I kind of harp on and talk a lot about in these trainings is having a good balance on your social channels of yourself and your business. So incorporating these into your strategy is just going to be really important to being successful and getting people to like your content. Another thing to really consider when you're coming up with the things that you would like to be posting is to think about your ideal client. So break it down not based on who you've serviced in the past or worked with in the past, but who you would like to work with in the future, and and hone your posting into what they like, especially, and what they're going to enjoy seeing and interacting with on their own social pages. So ask yourself, how old are they? What are they likely to enjoy doing in their free time? What stage of life are they in? Specifically, are they single, married, young parents, retired? What is their income level and what kind of house can they afford? Is that their only home? And what do they do for a living? So think about those and shape who you're looking at. Looks like we have people have interests outside of corgis. Good point, Caitlin. Caitlin and I both have corgis. So, I mean, it's hard for me to think that nobody would not like posting about corgis, right? I love it. So once you've gotten kind of all these questions answered about who your ideal client is, you can make a couple of personas that your aspirational clients and kind of plan your posts around what they would like to see. So oftentimes when you break it down so granularly, you will find that your ideal client usually does have super similar interests to yourself. But even if they don't, because I have heard some people like working with young buyers and, and they can be different. But so even if they don't, it's really important to have a healthy mix of your own interests as well as your client's possible interests, just to make sure that you're capturing those types of people to get to your page, to follow you, and to hopefully work with you in the future. So once you've figured out the content that you want to be creating for your social pages, you'll need to to make sure that you're posting them in best practice. So our last section of this training is really going to be going over the general tips and tricks that you need to keep in mind when you're posting really regularly on social media, which is what we want to be doing, right? We want to be as regular as possible. So the first thing that you should know is that video is king when it comes to social media. It really is. It performs significantly better than still forms of media. So still forms would be something like single images, because they usually, what they do is stop the scroll of people who are browsing their social channels, and they drive more engagement overall. So even though videos usually perform better, it's really important to still have a variety of all media on your pages, for the various algorithms that all reward variety, and for other users that are following you who still prefer still media, because they are still out there. Users also love seeing and engaging with behind the scene contents of other people's day-to-day lives. And that's especially true on Instagram and Facebook stories, since they're so much more casual than feed posts. So feel free in those settings to show people a little bit of slice of life on your stories. As we've said a lot in this training, it really is vital to be posting a good mix of personal and lifestyle content alongside your business related posts. A good rule of thumb here, just to put a number behind it, is no more than 75% of real estate focused content should be posted on your feeds. So just to make that as easy as possible, every 4 posts that you make 3 real estate related and 1 a personal or lifestyle post. So another reminder is to utilize calls to action on every single one of your posts that aren't hard selling your followers. Like I've said before, that's not what people respond to, and it's not going to encourage people to comment on your posts. So for every single one of your social media posts, make sure to keep your most relevant information at the beginning just of your caption, because most social media channels will truncate the caption once it reaches a specific number of characters. So that just means it will be expanded by the user. It will need to be expanded, by the user to read the entire thing, right? So it would say read more or have 3 ellipses before they could see your entire post. So you'll also want to make sure that on most social media platforms to keep your captions as short and to the point as possible. The one big exception to that rule, I would say, is specifically LinkedIn. Something that we've talked a lot about in these social trainings is that users on LinkedIn expect to see really long form posts. So that's just a different ballgame. When it comes to posting about your new listings, always make sure to utilize, the professional photography that is done, as it puts the home in the best light, as we all know, and just from an overall post and feed perspective, it makes your page look really, really professional and clean and put together. The only exception to this would be if you're posting a video on TikTok or Reels, or even to your stories of the listing. In that case, you'll just need to make sure that your phone has a high quality camera and that you're keeping the camera as still as possible. So one quick note on these, the reason that I would not suggest posting your professional photography on your Reels or TikTok videos is because of the orientation, right? So Reels and TikToks videos are vertical, and most pictures that are taken of homes are horizontal. So that's just not the way that people expect to see those types of videos. So you'll also want to avoid using any stock images for your social posts because honestly, they're really easily identified as fake. So instead, feel free to use personal photos that you've taken with your own phone or camera. Again, you'll need to make sure that the camera on your phone takes high quality photos as well. Another way to keep your brand image kind of the same and have your feed look really cohesive is to use a specific photo edit for all of the photos that you post within your feed. I would suggest using something like Lightroom or VSCO to edit your photos instead of the Instagram app or something like that, because they have really like a low number of high quality filters. So finally, the last best practice that I'm going to leave you with today is when linking an article on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, always make sure to provide your own commentary in the caption and ask your followers their thoughts. Back on the calls to actions on your post, if you're resharing an article, it might make sense to end your caption with something like, do you personally think this update will shift the industry in a good or a bad way? You'll also want to always ensure that there is an image associated when you're sharing a link. And if there's not, make sure to upload one. There is a way to do that on every platform. So you definitely just want to make sure that there is some sort of image grab to encourage attention and interaction with that post. All right, so this was a pretty good broad overview of social media in general and those overall best practices when you're making your content. Um, I would definitely encourage you to come to some of my other trainings if you're trying to hone in on one specific channel or anything like that. But does anybody have any questions right now about anything that we've gone over today? Feel free to come off of mute or put it in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have on crafting compelling content. Okay, so I don't see anybody typing right now, so I'll just use this last couple minutes to push the rest of the training. So this is the last training for social media for this month, but starting in April, or well, moving into April, we're going to have every single training all over again. If you want to come to some or weren't able to make one that you wanted to come to, feel free to sign up for those in Sales Pro. They are already there, and we will be having all 8 of these trainings again. All right. So if you have any more questions, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm always happy to help, and I hope to see you out more of the trainings, and I hope you have a great weekend.